I'm here with Adam Marchick at Kahuna office, and this is an incredible place. I really have the feeling that I'm into a startup office, like early stage startup. This is so cool.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me here. This is an incredible place. I love it. It's so much fun. And tell me a little bit more about you, Adam.
Sure. So I'm one of the few that was born and raised in Palo Alto.
This is great.
And I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and so I knew early on I wouldn't be a pro baseball player, so I probably should be a software developer.
Yes.
And so I started working in a really interesting time in 1998.
Good.
And the first startup I worked for had a $3 billion IPO.
Wow, good
and
experience.
I was hooked. I mean, it was so much fun, and it's just such an innovative place.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
And right now you're launching a new product, yes?
We are.
How are you feeling about it? Must be very exciting. Are you sleeping at least?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I'm kind of like a narcoleptic puppy, where I go really, really fast and then I pass out, and we're kind of in the go really, really fast phase.
Okay.
But it's just so exciting. We have a team of 15 people.
Great.
We've been working really hard. The product's actually been working and live for about 6 months.
Good.
But we've waited. We wanted to have a bunch of customers before we told the world.
Oh, yes.
And so we're just about to do that. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
When are you launching?
Next week.
Great. So
Yeah.
there's a lot going on around here.
There is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But before being a CEO, you were an investor, and before that you were an engineer developer. And you worked in a non-profit organization. There's a lot of cool projects and different papers. Can you tell me a little bit of all this?
Sure. So, the whole guiding light for my career has been, if it sounds awesome, I want to do it.
Good.
And so building software for Oracle sounded great, and it was really an amazing place to kind of grow up. And then, investing, it's giving, the best way to help a company is 100 hours a week. The second best way is $10 million.
Wow.
And so that's the job of an investor, is to help.
Yes.
And so it's a very scalable way to help. And so I really enjoyed investing.
Great.
And I always knew I wanted to start a company, and that's where Glow, the nonprofit, came from, where I was mentoring these students, and I saw a huge gap in financial literacy, and I wanted to solve it.
Great.
And Glow is now serving 15,000 kids and doing great. And I went back to being an investor, and then last year I said, what do I want to do with the next 10 years of my life? And it was really build an amazing company. And actually with that, Jacob came into the picture, and the rest was history. So Jacob's my co-founder.
Hello.
And it's really been an amazing partnership.
Great.
And we're just getting started.
And for how long you've been business partners?
A little under 2 years.
Great. And for how long did you know before each other?
About a month before, really.
Okay, so you just met each other, connected, and start working together.
It is. It's one other thing about, I think, unique to Silicon Valley is just this help and the interconnected network.
Yes.
And so one of our mutual friends, Josh Stein at Draper Fisher Jervison, we were both looking for a co-founder, and he made the match.
Cool.
And it was kind of love at first sight.
Yeah, I've been listening this a lot. Startups are like relationships. You
Yeah.
have to, you start dating your co-founder, your investor, and then you see if you get married or not.
Yeah.
It's more or less
very
like
true.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone is trying to go for the customers. And your job at Kahuna is to help to understand better the customers. So tell me a little bit, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, how this whole idea, how did you put all this together?
Sure. And so, the real impetus for Kahuna came from my work at Facebook on the growth team.
Great.
And then we realized early on it was so important to understand people using Facebook and engage with them in a personalized way. And that was the impetus for the first growth team ever created. And so Chamath created that growth team, and I was lucky enough to work for him. And I realized how important growth was. And I also realized how hard it was. They had 150 people all on the growth team. And I knew how important growth marketing was and also how hard it was. And I realized the rest of the world should have a product that does growth marketing for them. And that's Kahuna.
Oh, this is really nice.
Thank you.
So this is your pitch, more or less. Like you've been training it?
No, it's more. It came from the need.
Yes.
And so that's been really nice.
Very good.
Yeah.
And well, since you've been an investor and now you're running your own company, what skills did you learn as an investor that do you believe are helping you now?
I think one of the best lines I actually heard from John Jarvie, who was at Menlo Ventures, is the quote that you can't fix market.
Mm-hmm.
If the market size is small,
it is small.
No matter what product is, it's really hard to grow.
Yes.
And you think about some of the big companies, for example, Twitter and Uber, they're tackling big ideas. And so one of the best things I learned from being an investor that helped here is that whatever I was going to do, I wanted to be a big problem in a huge market.
This is good. So you know where you're going after, and as you said, you can't fix market, so you have to fit. Yeah, and find a good way to fit. Definitely.
Yeah.
And do you what are your expectations now? Do you have that gut feeling or that secret wish that you could share with us?
Well, when you grow up in Palo Alto, you don't want to be a baseball player. You want to be Larry Ellison. No, or Tom Siebel or Bill Gates. You really look up to these landmark leaders who build companies that are 40 years old and getting stronger.
Yes.
And if my secret wish is to build one of those companies.
Great. Talking about leaders, who is your inspiration?
That's a great question. Reed Hastings is someone I really look up to. He has built 3 for-profit companies and 2 not-for-profit companies. And I really admire that. And that's someone I am trying to emulate.
Very good. And do you have in your mind, I would say, what do you believe it's important for an entrepreneur to have in their minds? Mindset, a good mindset for an entrepreneur to be successful and everything.
One of the things people don't think about that often, but is really the number one priority, is to be a great listener.
Mm-hmm.
To really be a great entrepreneur, you have to understand lots of different constituents and come up with a solution after listening. And I think that's a really critical skill for an entrepreneur.
This is very important. Yes, it's true. And well, I think also you were telling me before that your job here is to make the engineers happy, to assure that they are happy, they are having fun. And I think this is very challenging, to motivate other people when it's your idea and you want other people to believe in that idea with you. So how do you deal with that? These motivational things, do you have certain, activities or tips that you could give to other entrepreneurs how to motivate their teams?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question, and it's a really important one. I think the first thing is that it's our company. Mm-hmm. It might have been Jacob and I who started it, but this is the founding team.
Okay.
And even when we're 100 people, it's still, I want everyone to think they're on the founding team.
This is nice.
And then the second is actually what I learned from Mark Zuckerberg, is every Friday, he did an open Q&A. And we do that here. It's called the Kahuna Happy Hour.
Nice.
It's really a company update and discussion. And
very open, you can say what you're not liking?
Anything's on the table.
Okay.
Any questions on the table. And I think those continuous, constant check-ins and openness, I think, are really important to have people feel like they want to dedicate their life to it.
Yes, this is true. Many entrepreneurs around the world, they really want to come to Silicon Valley.
Okay.
But this might be challenging, that might not be easy. So what do you believe that it's so special here? Do you think, have you traveled a lot? Or I don't know.
I have. And actually I was involved in setting up kind of global entrepreneurship networks.
Yes.
And I actually lived in Boston for a few years and in New York for a while, and also in Bangalore, India. And my real advice is entrepreneurship is alive wherever you are. And Silicon Valley is great in a lot of ways, and there's also some negatives. It's an echo chamber.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the negatives of Silicon Valley. Yes.
I think it's funny that everyone here assumes every person in the world has an iPhone 5.
Oh, yes.
You know, and that's not reality.
Yeah, that's not reality.
And everyone assumes that everyone reads Pando Daily, and that's not reality. And they think when they wake up in the morning, they check their Twitter feed, and that's not reality.
No.
And I think really getting out of the echo chamber is important.
Okay, yes, this is true. Yeah, to really have an overview what is happening around the world. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to aim your customers in a wrong way if you realize, no, not everyone has a smartphone.
Well, it goes back to listening. You got to know who to listen to as well.
Good. Yeah. And do you have any challenging story that you've had to overcome? For example, you have many great success stories, but have you ever faced failure before?
You know, I've been really lucky that I've always, whenever I was close to failure, I kind of put my head down and worked and kind of worked my way out.
Great.
But I think one of the things is I feel like I have many failures every week. You know, I think the whole point is to put yourself in challenging environments and come close to failure, but then know that you can pull yourself out. And so there have been a lot of times where I kind of say I was over my tips. I was in an uncomfortable situation where I needed to ramp up really quickly or I would fail. And I think the key is just to put yourself in those situations and then feel confident enough to feel like you'll figure out a solution.
This is great. And how do you realize that you were almost there?
Usually negative feedback. I mean, they'll let you know. If there's a problem, either the market or your employees or your boss will let you know. Someone will let you know.
Okay.
As long as you're listening.
Yes. Okay, very good. Yeah, let's take a look around at this office. Like, you have a lot of books and food and empty bottles. Tell me about these pictures and the empty bottles.
Oh yeah, so I think that's another thing of how do you motivate people.
Yes.
Is you celebrate victories.
Great.
And so our team does like happy hour in all senses of the word. And when we really celebrate when someone goes above and beyond. And the way we do it is kind of the bottle of glory.
The bottle of glory.
So we usually find a picture and we put it on a bottle, and that is their trophy that they can have with pride.
Yeah, and I can see a lot of bottles around here, so probably there are a lot of victories that you're celebrating. This is good.
It's fun. It's really fun.
Do you feel like you build a family with your engineers? Like you really have this close feeling, like friends?
It's the Kahuna family.
This is cool.
It really is a family, and a lot of them sleep over at my house. A lot of them, you know, this is life. Yes. This isn't a job.
And well, this is life. This is not a job. So probably it gets very intense. Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you handle all this intensity?
I think a lot of it goes back to that happy hour of really being open with each other, and we check in. Where are people on the gas tank? Are they on empty? Yeah. And it's time to turn your phone off for Saturday, or do you want to work harder? We've had conversations with both of those being the result.
Like, I need a pause, or no, I want more work. Yes, it's good. Yeah. Do you work on Sundays and Saturdays as well, or you try to?
I do. I mean, I think I take my responsibility as a co-founder and to be supporting people's families very seriously. Yes. And it's my job to get everyone here the resources they need to be successful. And that's not a 5-day-a-week job.
Yes, I can imagine. And how do you relieve stress?
Exercise is a big deal. And then just another really special thing, which is not unique to Silicon Valley, but really nice, is there's camaraderie around entrepreneurs. And so being able to be open with other people in similar situations is a huge stress reliever.
Yeah,
and good. Especially also open with my wife. I can't. That's one thing, and other people don't talk about how important your partner is to being an entrepreneur.
Does your wife is an entrepreneur also?
She actually she works at Stanford.
Okay, but she understands the environment.
She's very supportive.
Good.
It's a big deal.
So good. Yeah. And well, since you're a founder, you have a nice big team. How was the hiring process? How do you work with that? Because we always listen to this: hire slow, fire fast. So Any tips on hiring people, hiring a funding team? Because it's not any team, it's not any employee, it's the funding. See?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had the magic answer. It just requires a lot of time. That for any founder who wants to build a great team, expect it to take 30 to 40% of your week.
Good.
And as long as you expect that, you'll give it the time it deserves.
That's good. Well, thank you a lot for having us here. This was really fun. Well, there's a lot of going on around here. It's super nice. And wish you good luck with Kahuna.
Thank you.
And thanks for having us.
Great. Thanks a lot.